and welcome to the week ending April 24th, 1943. My name is Henry Chop. In 30 seconds, I'll tell you what we are going to listen to tonight. If you love the World War II era, consider following us on Patreon. You not only support this channel, but you will get daily posts of pop culture and a daily newspaper in chronological order. It's neat to follow the war as your parents, grandparents, or even your great-grandparents have followed it. Check us out with a 1-week free trial. A link is in the comments to this video. Becoming a patron helps keep these shows going. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell. We have a little bit of everything tonight, so sit back for 2 hours for a variety of sounds from smack dab in the middle of World War II. The first program we have tonight is a classic, the Jack Benny program. In this episode, Jack opens his swimming pool for the season. Loretta Young guests on that program, and the show is dated April 18th, 1943. Following Jack, we are going to get serious for 30 minutes with the Cavalcade of America, and this episode tonight is Listen for the Sound of Wings, starring Paul Lucas. It is the story of Martin Niemöller, who was a Lutheran minister who protested the Nazis. I think this recording is a rehearsal. It has a piano player providing the music instead of an orchestra. That was kind of the big clue there that this is probably a rehearsal broadcast. You are sure to find this an interesting program nonetheless, and it's dated from April 19th, 1943. After that, we move up to April 20th for 2 topical programs. The first is a 15-minute newscast, and the second is a program titled Hitler's Mock Birthday Party, and it's broadcast from Times Square in New York City. Be sure to buy your war bonds. And we are going to close things out with Author's Playhouse from April 21st, and this episode is titled Dan Peters and Casey Jones. The story is kind of a farce. That's what I guess you can call it. An interesting thing about the series, Author's Playhouse, it aired from Chicago, and its time slot was 11:30 p.m. Chicago time. So if you're on the West Coast, it aired after midnight. And it's just really an odd time slot. But you know what? That would be a welcome relief if you didn't feel like listening to dance bands or news or even disc jockeys were on late at night, but rarely a radio play. So we take it for granted today having hundreds of choices for entertainment that late at night, but back in the 1940s, there were maybe 10 choices, 10 stations, and that's if you lived in a major market. If you lived in a small town in the middle of nowhere, you might have 1, 2, 3, or at most 4 choices. Well, anyway, let's turn on this old tube radio. That's our time machine, and give this stuff a listen.
The Grape Nuts Flakes program, starring Jack Benny, with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Dennis Day, Rochester, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Somebody says what America needs is more smiles for breakfast. So here's your old friend Doc Wilson right on the job with news of how to achieve more breakfast smiles. Perfectly simple. Just serve more tempting, satisfying breakfasts. Breakfasts that feature Grape Nuts Flakes. Now, perhaps the best way to describe Grape Nuts Flakes is that they give you such a feeling of well-being with which to start the day. Grape Nuts Flakes start right in, tempting the eye, then they tempt the taste. Crisp, toasty brown texture, malty rich, sweet as a nut flavor. The famous Grape Nuts flavor in toasty brown flake form. But don't forget, Grape Nuts Flakes are a whole grain cereal. So beneath all their crisp, light-hearted goodness, there's plenty of hearty, whole grain nourishment. So for more smiles per family, per breakfast, per budget, better make it thrifty Grape Nuts Flakes every morning. Navy played by the orchestra. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to take you to the backyard of Jack Benny's home in Beverly Hills, where Jack has been spending a great deal of time the past week out in the open air. It's yesterday morning. Take it away, Beverly Hills.
Oh, gosh, it's beautiful out here today. You know, Rochester, there's nothing like spring in Southern California. Where else can you see flowers in full bloom in the middle of April? Where else can you sit out in the open beside your swimming pool and feel those hot rays beating down?
You better turn off that sun lamp, boss. You're cooked.
Yeah, I guess I've had enough. I don't want to get too much all at once. I'm the type that freckles.
Me too, but you'll have to take my word for it.
Now, Rochester, pull the sun lamp back in the bushes and cover it with palm leaves.
Leave it right out in the open, boss. The heck with the Chamber of Commerce.
Covered with palm leaves. And by the way, Rochester, how's our victory garden coming along?
Oh, fine, boss. Mr. Coleman's chickens were over early this morning and weeded it for us.
Ronald Coleman's chickens? Rochester, I told you to fix that hole in the fence.
I did. Even the big fat ones can get through now.
I mean, block it. Those darn chickens will scratch up all the seeds.
Let's get this straightened out, boss. Is our objective carrots, peas, or fried chicken?
Carrots and peas, vegetables. Now block up that hole.
Okay, I'll cover it with a frying pan.
Use a piece of wire. Wire. Oh, hello, Mary.
Hello, Jack. You well enough to be outdoors now?
Oh, sure. The doctor told me to get plenty of fresh air, so I thought I'd stretch out here in my bathing suit.
Bathing suit? Is that thing a bathing suit?
Of course.
Well, you ought to get a new one. They're not wearing them with bloomers anymore.
I've got helium in these bloomers. I'm not going to sink.
Besides, the moth chewed the elbow out of your left sleeve.
Mary, it so happens that I lost the elbow out of that sleeve when attacked by a man-eating shark in Lake Michigan.
A shark in Lake Michigan?
All right, it was a perch. In mating season, they're vicious. Anyway, Mary, isn't it beautiful out here today? Look at those birds. Aren't they cute? There's always a louse in every crowd. What is that for?
Well, I don't blame him. The idea of having a penny peanut machine out here for birds.
That's for people, not birds.
We had a worm machine out here, but they crawled out for nothing.
I gotta have that fixed.
Are you going in for a dip in the pool, Miss Livingston?
Not now, Rochester. I think I'll wait till later.
If you're smart, Mary, you'll go in now.
Oh, that's right. The prices change at 12 o'clock.
Not that, but the pool gets crowded later in the afternoon. We have the same prices all day.
I just got a load of that silly sign you got out front. Swim at Benny's for 20 pennies.
Mary, I have a lovely pool. There's no reason why I shouldn't share it with people. Naturally, I have to make a nominal charge to pay for
Here comes a customer, boss.
Oh, yes. Pull those palm leaves off the cash register. Well, good morning, young man.
Good morning, Mr. Benny. Is your pool open yet?
Yep, this is the first day of the season, and you're the first customer.
Oh, boy, the first customer. Then I get the free swim.
No, I'm sorry, young man. I've discontinued that policy this year. Sorry.
That's all right. The whole world is changing.
Yes, it is.
Well, here's my 15 cents. See you later, Mr. Benny.
Oh, just a minute, Bud. On account of the laundry situation, I'm making a small charge for towels this year. That'll be 20 cents in all.
But I brought my own towel.
I'm sorry. You'll have to check that.
But, Mr. Benny...
You see, if I let people bring in towels, I won't know who's taking mine out.
But that doesn't seem very...
Next, please. Next.
There's no one behind him.
Quiet. 20 cents out of a quarter. Here's your nickel change, kid. Here, take your nickel.
Keep it. You'll think of something.
Take it. Oh, attendant, show this gentleman to his locker.
Yes, sir. Right this way, sir. Can I bring you a scotch and soda, sir?
Rochester. See that he gets just one towel. Remember last year there were a lot of them missing.
Yes, sir.
No, Mary, I have a feeling this is going to be my best season.
Well, I think you opened too early. It's pretty chilly yet to go in swimming.
Oh, there's a little ice around the edge of the pool, but out in the center it's all open water. Uh-oh, here come some more customers.
It's Don Wilson and Phil Harris.
Well, they better be customers if they know what's good for them. Well, good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to Benny's Bathing Pool.
Hiya, Jackson. Mary. Hello, Jack. How's your cold coming along?
Oh, I feel fine, Don. I'll be back on the program tomorrow as master of ceremony.
Ain't we going to have Orson Welles on the show?
Definitely not. I'm going to handle the show myself.
Back to the corn, huh?
Phil, for a guy with a wife, a baby, and no talent, you're taking an awful chance. Now, give me 20 cents. You're going in for a swim.
Swim in that icy water? What are you trying to do, sober me up?
It isn't so cold, Phil. I dove in myself this morning, didn't I, Rochester?
Yeah, but that quarter on the bottom of the pool turned out to be a bottle cap.
Well, the way the light hit it, it really fooled me. How about you, Don? Are you going in for a swim?
Oh, I don't know, Jack. The water in the pool seems awfully low.
Believe me, Don, when you get in, Mary and I'll have to move to higher ground. Now, give me 40 cents for you and Phil.
Okay, here you are.
Thank you. Take those lockers, number 3 and 5 there on the end, fellas.
Okay, Jackson.
Well, 3 customers already. It isn't even noon yet. Oh, for Rochester. Rochester, what are you doing with that? Rochester, what are you doing with that chicken?
What's that, boss?
I said, what are you doing with that chicken?
I was just searching it to see if it had any cows.
Throw that bird over the fence.
Okay. So long, lunch.
Rochester, if I told you once, I told you 10 times, don't annoy Mr. Coleman's chickens. If any of those hens are missing, he'll blame us.
That's what you said about his grapefruit, and he has yet to mention it.
Well, it so happens, Rochester, that the grapefruit hit the ground on my side of the fence.
Yes, sir. That cold shoot worked out fine.
Now, Rochester, if you don't... Well, here comes Dennis. Hello, kid.
Sorry I'm late, Mr. Benny. Are there many customers here?
No, only 3 so far.
Good, then I'll have time for a dip in the pool first.
Dennis, if you read your contract with Benny Bathing Pool Incorporated, you will find that Clause B stipulates that you are to supply entertainment whether our customers here or not. Now, let's have a song.
But, Mr. Benny, that contract also says that I'm supposed to be the lifeguard.
So what?
Well, gee, if I'm the lifeguard, I better learn to swim. I worry about things like that.
Look, kid, sing your song, bring in some customers. You can learn to swim later. Now, go ahead. Let's have your song.
Like the beat, beat, beat of the tom-tom when the jungle shadows fall. Like the tick, tick, tock of the stately clock when it stands against the wall. Like the drip, drip, drip of the raindrop when the summer shower is through. A voice within me keeps repeating, night and day. You are the one, only you beneath the moon and under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it's no matter, darling, where you are, I think of you. Night and day. will you let me spend my life making love to you day and night, night and
That was swell, Dennis. In fact, I want you to do that song on the program tomorrow.
Okay. Can I go in the pool now, Mr. Benny?
Yes, but don't dive in the shallow end. I've got rice planted there. You know? By the way, kid, I've been meaning to talk to you about something. I heard you on the Eddie Cantor program last week.
How was it? I wasn't home that night.
Well, naturally. Now, Dennis, who gave you permission to go on Cantor's program?
Orson Welles, that's who. Orson Welles!
Well, watch it, kid. Or from now on, you'll be working for Orson Welles. Now, go for a swim before you think that over. You know, I got a great idea, Mary. What my pool needs is a little glamour. Do you think you could get some of your girlfriends to come over?
Well, I don't know, Jack.
Sure you could. Call up Barbara Stanwyck and Ann Southern and Claudette Colbert and invite them over for a swim. Of course, I don't think I ought to charge them, do you?
Look, Jack, if you get those gals in your pool, you can bottle the water and sell it for $10 a quart.
Where can you get quarts nowadays? There's a shortage, sister. Well, what do you know? The sun is finally coming out.
Yeah, why don't you take off your galoshes and tan your tootsies?
Mary, stop making fun of my ensemble, will you?
Uh-oh. Say, boss, here comes that crazy board of yours.
Rochester, how many times do I have to tell you that Mr. Billingsley is not crazy?
He ain't, hey? Did you see him at breakfast this morning?
No, what happened at breakfast?
He swallowed a raw egg and then drank boiling water for 3 minutes.
He was in a hurry, that's all. Well, hello, Mr. Billingsley.
Hello, Mr. Benny. One of the bloomer girls, I see.
No, Mr. Billingsley. This is a bathing suit. I'm out here drinking in the sunshine.
Drinking in the sunshine. I'll get a bottle and join you.
Oh, you misunderstand. I mean, I'm out here getting a tan. Old Sal just came out.
Oh, yes, old Sal Wurzel. Been east, hasn't he?
Good old Sal. He'll love that one. I'll never get out of this. I better change the subject. By the way, Mr. Billingsley, I see you have your bathing suit on. Are you going for a plunge?
Oh, I'd love to, but I left my plunger at the Mocambo. Well, goodbye, Mr. Benny.
Goodbye.
Oh, she's living in Anaheim.
Good old Mr. Billingsley. By the way, Rochester, he's supposed to pay his board today. Did you collect it?
No, he said the money won't be dry till tomorrow.
That's my fault. I should never have given him that printing press for Christmas.
Hey, kids, get a load of Don and me in these bathing suits.
Yeah, don't we look like a couple of Adonises?
Don, you alone look like a couple of Adonis. Say, Phil, that's an unusual bathing suit for a man to be wearing. Where'd you get it?
Ain't it a beaut? Alice wore it in her last picture.
Alice Faye wore that suit? Somehow on you, Phil, it doesn't inspire me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll never be elected Miss Brooklyn Navy Yard, would I?
No, but you might get runner-up on Miss Boyle Heights. Well, what are you waiting for, Don? Aren't you going to jump in the pool?
Oh, I don't think so, Jack. The water looks pretty cold.
Oh, come on, jump in, Don. Take a chance.
Come on, Dante, what are you waiting for? In you go.
Look out, Don. He's going to push you.
Oh, Phil, stop that. What are you... Oh, Phil, stop
Well, then,
digging
come
me.
on, jump in, jump in.
Okay, here I go.
Oh, watch it, Mary, watch it.
Watch what?
Get up on the chair. Here comes a wave.
Jack. I'm soaked to the skin.
Thank you. That water's got chlorine in it. I hope it didn't ruin my victory garden.
Your garden's all right. But say, Jack, what's Rochester putting up in the middle of it?
Where? Well, I'll be darned. Rochester, take that off.
What, boss?
Take that off the scarecrow.
What, boss? The crows here in Beverly Hills are very ritzy.
I don't care. Take my tuxedo off that scarecrow. Now take it off.
Your diamond stick pin, too?
Everything. I want that tuxedo. Suppose I win the Academy Award next year. What'll I wear to the banquet?
If you win the Academy Award, you can go in your underwear. Who else will be there?
Say, I'm liable to win the award for tomatoes alone. My garden keeps on the way it's going.
Oh, you're some farmer. You and your silly experiments.
Oh, they're not so silly.
Remember last year? You sprinkled cheese all over the ground and tried to raise all rotten potatoes.
Sure, I sprinkled cheese. I had an idea. What are you giggling about?
Every other gardener around here had trouble with potato bugs, but you had mice.
All right, I still say it doesn't hurt to experiment.
Say, Mr. Benny, pardon me for interrupting, but would you
Just
mind
a minute,
if I...
Dennis. You know, Mary, I wouldn't laugh about my garden if I were you. I might turn out to be another Luther Burbank.
Another who?
Burbank. Luther Burbank.
Oh, yeah, they named Glendale after him.
They named Burbank after him.
Oh, I guess I didn't analyze it.
You certainly didn't.
Say, Mr. Benny, speaking of horticulture experiments, are you going to try out that idea I gave you?
No, Rochester, no. I told you it would never work.
What was his idea, Jack?
Oh, Rochester wanted to irrigate the lemon trees with gin and grow Tom Collins. It would never have worked. Now, Dennis, what was it you started to ask me?
Well, can I phone my girlfriend and have her come over here for a swim? It's very important that I see her in a bathing suit.
Why do you have to see your girl in a bathing suit?
Well, there's a rumor going around that she's got knock knees, and I can't tell by listening.
What's your girl's name, Dennis?
Mary Bell Buzzer.
Mary Bell Buzzer. Oh, yes, she has got... bring her around, Dennis. Bring her around anytime.
Say, Jackson, here comes your medico.
My what?
Your medico, that's doctor for Latin.
That's Latin for doctor. Well, hello, Doc.
Well, and how's my little patient? Shall we take that nasty cast off your leg today?
Look, doctor, I had a cold, you cured me, and I feel fine. Now, how much do I owe you?
How much?
Yes. What's my bill?
Just a minute. Now, where did I put that hypodermic needle?
I don't need a hypodermic. I can take it like a man. Now, how much do I owe you?
Well, there was a prescription for cough medicine, which cost $2.
Uh-huh.
Then there were 3 sulfur tablets, which sulfur 10 cents apiece.
Sulfur, that's $2.30 so far. What else?
You bit my thermometer in two while listening to the Fred Allen program. That's $1.25.
It was worth it. Now, what's the total, Doc?
Well, including 6 visits to your house, the whole thing comes to $45,000.
$45,000? Now, wait a minute, Doc. Aren't you starting a little high?
That's the only way I'll get $10, and you know it.
$10? Well, that's more like it. Now, I'll tell you what, Doc. This is the grand opening of my swimming pool today. Now, how'd you like to take a free swim and call the whole thing even?
Good. I'll dive right in now.
Hey, wait a minute, Doctor. Not there. That's the shallow end.
Whoop, bump my head.
Doctor, come out of there. Doctor, you're ruining my rice bed. Doctor, come out of... Rochester, put down that chicken. Doctor, come out of that pool. Rochester, put down that... Rochester! Doctor, Rochester!
And that, ladies ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what happened yesterday at the grand opening of Jack's swimming pool.
That's right, Dom. My rice bed was ruined, but we had fried chicken for dinner. Play, Phil. That was I Love Coffee, I Love Tea, played by Phil Harris and his boys, who have yet to drink coffee or tea out of anything but a saucer. I might even have said who have yet to drink either coffee or tea. But I've been sick and I'm sweet now. Yeah. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have something of great interest to all of you. In a few moments...
You better be sweet.
What?
Look, Jackson, I don't care whether you've been sick or not. Lay off them wisecracks.
In a few moments, ladies and gentlemen...
From now on, be a gentleman. If you can't say something derogatory about my boys, don't say nothing.
Okay, I'll be derogatory. And now, ladies and
You
gentlemen...
don't even know what derogatory means.
Derogatory?
Derogatory means tending to or the nature of derogation, disparagement, or detraction.
Dennis, that's Don Wilson's line.
I thought there was something wrong here.
Ah, folks, what other program has such bottlenecks? What a dodo.
Wait a minute, Jack. You don't appreciate Dennis. I think he's a very nice boy.
Sure, he's a nice boy, Mary, but he doesn't have to... Why, Loretta. Oh, for heaven's sake, Loretta Young, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we've been expecting you, Loretta, and folks, the few words that Miss Young has to say to us are of vital importance.
Thank you, Jack. Here's something I would like to ask everyone to think of. To think of when you go to bed tonight. Think of this as you lift the window and smell the night air and look out at the stars. Think of this. There are thousands of little shacks in the Philippines that are empty tonight. There are thousands of little cottages like yours in Yugoslavia, Greece, China, Russia, empty tonight. Where have all the people gone? Why didn't you know? They are dead. You are still alive. Your blood is warm. A face you love is there on the pillow in the dusk of the room. And everything is so quiet, still, and beautiful. That's worth saving, isn't it? Others are dying in order to save it for you. Then is our country asking too much when it asks you to become a part of the second war loan? $13 billion for attack, for the invasion of Europe. How much can you spare? How much can you invest? How many war bonds can you buy today? Well, ask yourself those questions as you stand at your window tonight and smell the fresh, clean night air and look out at the stars.
Edition, Drexel 7211.
What you've said has brought home to us the importance of buying war bonds. Thank you.
The Basic Seven. You're reading about them in the papers, you're hearing about them on the radio. The Basic Seven groups of foods, which our new National Nutrition Program tells us we should all have every day. And featured in this Basic Seven are whole grain cereals. Cereals such as Grape Nuts Flakes. Yes, delicious toasty brown Grape Nuts Flakes are a whole grain cereal, the kind of food your government urges you to eat at least once a day. Every serving of Grape Nuts Flakes and milk provides whole grain nourishment, including minerals, proteins, vitamins, and carbohydrates. Besides, Grape Nuts Flakes are plentiful, thrifty, unrationed. So do as Uncle Sam urges you to do. Get the Basic 7 into your daily diet, including more whole grain cereals. And for tops and delicious flavor, make it Grape Nuts Flakes. Remember, you don't give up a single precious ration stamp when you buy Grape Nuts Flakes.
Good night, everybody.
The Jack Benny program is written by Bill Morrow and Ed Malloy.
The Cavalcade of America, sponsored by the DuPont Company, maker of better things for better living through chemistry, presents Paul Lucas as Pastor Martin Niemöller of Berlin. In an original radio play, listen for the sound of wings. The church bells ring in America. The holiest days of two of the world's great religions are with us again. But this year, across Europe, the bells are silent, and people fear even to pray. Tonight, with Paul Lucas as our star, Cavalcade reaches across the sea for its hero, bringing you a story of a fighter for the religious freedom that our American bells proclaim. In a concentration camp in central Germany, Pastor Martin Niemöller of Berlin suffers for his faith behind bars, his very torment the measure of our religious liberty. Starring Paul Lucas as Pastor Martin Niemöller of Berlin in Listen for the Sound of Wings, written by Arthur Miller, on the Cavalcade of America, sponsored by DuPont. Sunday morning in America, and the people come from their houses walking with holiday ease toward churches they've chosen. So sure that no man will ever dare to block their way. So sure and safe.
Helen, I think Larry's grown since the Navy's shown him how to stand so straight.
Oh, it's just this uniform, Mrs. Nelson. Makes my neck look longer, that's all.
But you are straighter, I think, Larry. And your face is so brown.
Say, here come the Murphys from Mass.
Oh, we must be early for a change.
Well, it's no harm being early.
No, just that the minister will be surprised to see us get in before the collection.
Morning, Mrs. Murphy.
Morning.
I'll get that cup of sugar back to you tomorrow.
Oh, no hurry. My family ain't much for sweets.
Oh, I needed it for some wonderful rhubarb I got at Goldberg's. I'll send some over with the sugar.
Oh, that'll be so kind of you. Is this Larry Jameson?
Say, I guess I must look bigger in this uniform. Nobody seems to be sure it's me.
And the windows smashed. I am sure it never crossed your minds that a day might come when you would arrive here to find the door of this church padlocked or its walls blackened by fire. I am sure you do not realize that your sons are fighting the battles of this war to prevent men from locking you out of this church. And yet that is one of the reasons we fight this war. I will not deliver a sermon today. Instead, I will tell you a strange and terrible story. It is the story of Martin Niemöller, a pastor of the Lutheran Church in Berlin. It is the year 1933, the day before Germany's last election. Adolf Hitler and his lieutenants are sitting in their Berlin office. They are quiet. They are waiting for a visitor.
Yes, he's always prompt. Ah, there he is, coming into the building. Himmler, stay in the next room. I want you here, Rudloff, Rosenberg, you, Goering, Goebbels, and Hess. Now, understand this. If we can get Martin Niemöller on our side, we have the Christian vote in Germany. When he enters, we will all rise and salute him, according to his rank as former U-boat commander. Remember, Rosenberg, this is no parson. Niemöller is made of iron. He insults very quickly, they say. So we will all be Christians this afternoon. Pay him every respect, even above me. He must endorse the party for tomorrow's elections. His voice carries into every church in Germany.
Pastor Martin Niemöller to see Herr Hitler.
Show him in. On your feet now. Herr Commander Niemöller, welcome.
At your ease, meine Herren. I have been out of the Navy for 20 years. You mustn't salute me.
It was automatic, Herr Pastor. A man looks at you and wants to salute.
I am flattered, Herr Hitler. But I've come for other business.
Good. Have a chair, please. Between soldiers, there is no need for small talk, Herr Pastor. You understand, of course, that Germany is at the 11th hour.
That I understand, Herr Hitler. But something else I do not understand.
I am at your service, Herr Pastor.
When your Nazi party began its propaganda, we of the church understood that you were trying to change Germany back to what she was before 1918.
Exactly, Herr Niemöller.
Now, let me go on. A German Kaiser again, order again, and the church once more a powerful force in Germany. The church, you understand, is on its last legs here. Our funds are going fast. We have no support from the state.
Herr Pastor, in Germany, once we are in power, the priest and the minister will stand beside the government again. Not like an orphan left to pick crumbs in the streets. First and foremost, a Nazi is a Christian, Herr Pastor.
Good. That is good. But tell me then, why do you make propaganda against the church?
Simple, Herr Pastor. Facts are facts. Millions of Germans are atheists. We cannot come to them preaching religion. So we preach atheism to the atheists. They support us, and once we take power, we hand them over to the churches, and they are yours to convert. We are realists. A Nazi does not live in the clouds.
Then you are lying to the atheists.
To the atheists? Yes, we are lying.
But to me?
To you, I am telling the truth. We are all religiously inclined. The atheism we preach sometimes is purely a tactic.
Well, I'm trying very hard to believe that, Herr Hitler.
Realism, Herr Pastor. Realism. We will bring the heathen back to the church, and if we must lie to do it, then lie we must. Otherwise, it's chaos.
Yes, it is chaos. But a lie is a lie, and the man who tells it is a liar. And I cannot go with liars.
But if a man lies in order to bring a great good, is there not some honor in it? And could he not be a good man, after all?
But your stormtroops, they have beaten people. I've heard they murdered them.
This is propaganda from the Bolsheviks. This is not true.
It is true, Herr Hitler. And I will guarantee the support of the evangelical church only if you swear to me that no violence will be used to influence the elections tomorrow. And no violence once you are in power.
Herr Niemöller, I give you my oath as a soldier. So far as I am able to prevent it, there will be no violence on the part of my Nazis.
Soldier's oath I will trust.
Then we may announce your support of our party at once?
On that condition, you may do so.
From this moment, Herr Niemöller, Germany moves toward Christ.
For that I pray God, Herr Hitler.
Niemöller, Herr Pastor.
Frau Hessler, come in. What are you doing up this time of night?
My son. They're after my son.
Your son?
He just called on the phone. He's coming here to the church. You must let him hide in the church.
Hide? Who is he hiding from?
The stormtroopers. He was making a speech against Hitler and they broke into the meeting.
What?
He escaped. He's coming here.
No, it must be something more than that, Frau Hessler. He must have done something, broken the law.
Martin, my husband has been sexton of this church for 15 years. We did not raise a lawbreaker. The Nazis are beating up people all over Berlin tonight. The people are frightened to vote against them.
No, you are hysterical. They gave me their word there would be no violence.
Look, man is coming across the street. It's Frank. It's Frank who let me open the church for him,
But
Martin.
this is ridiculous. A man is not hunted for making a speech.
That car parked across the street.
Where?
Martin, there's men sitting in the car. The door is opening.
Oh.
Somebody's getting out. He's got a gun. Frank, look out! Martin,
He shot him. Here. carry him into the house.
Look at him. He's dead. Is he dead?
Yes, he's dead, Frau Hessler. I have seen too many not to know. Now we lie him on the couch here. So.
My son. My son. What is happening? They shot my son.
He promised. I give you my oath as a soldier, he said. It must be. Yes, your son must have been mixed up in some shady business.
No. There were Nazis in that car. They murdered 100 tonight. They're making sure of the election. That's why they're killing.
And he gave me his oath. A soldier's oath.
My son. My son. Why? Why? Where are you going, Pastor Nimmer?
To break a covenant I made with the murderer. To break it in his face.
I cannot understand you, Adolf. He preaches against you every Sunday. It is known, it is common knowledge. Do you want the country to think that the Nazi party is afraid of Niemöller?
I am not afraid of Niemöller, Himmler.
Then why is he free? The other priests who fought you, they are where they belong. We are not in power 2 days. This is 3 years now we have Germany. Give him to me, Adolf. He only needs to have his head twisted around. This parson.
Himmler is right. Now listen to me, Himmler. All of you, listen. Jesus Christ has lived in the German mind for 15 centuries. We cannot wipe him out in 1 year. Christianity must be drawn out of Germany, like slow heat draws infection from a wound. Niemöller is that heat. The Christians will follow him. He must lead them to us. Slowly, he must bend the cross over his pulpit until it is a swastika. Then, only then, can we make away with Niemöller. For then they are praying to me. To kill him is to kill our last chance to capture Christianity in Germany. In short, you will place dictaphones in Niemöller's church. Record his sermons and bring them to me. I must understand this man. He's very strange. I must win his soul.
Herr Pastor, there is a gentleman to see you.
Well, I must start services, Fräulein. I have no time for visitors on Sunday mornings.
Herr Pastor, it is Herr von Ribbentrop.
Von Ribbentrop? I thought he was in England. Show him in.
I will only keep you a minute.
Well, I never expected to see you so close to a church, Joachim.
Neither did I. But as a matter of fact, I have come, Niemöller, to become again a member of your parish.
This is a surprise. A Nazi, a confirmed pagan like yourself, suddenly turning to Christ. Tell me what happened to change your mind.
Couldn't we dispense with the explanations? I have come to join the church.
This is not a drinking club, Joachim. A certain degree of sincerity is required. Explanations are in perfect order.
Very well, then. I am, as you know, ambassador to England. And on Sundays, the other ambassadors all go to their respective churches. It is a disadvantage not to be affiliated with some religious order. In short, it is a matter of state.
And you, I should say Hitler, expects me to accept you on this basis. Raving atheists, like yourself.
It will be to your advantage. I might say it is required.
I should say it is required, Herr von Ribbentrop. Last night, all the churches in Lübeck were closed down. It is forbidden to preach the Christian gospel in Lübeck. Your thugs are hunting down the clergy there like dogs. And today I am to admit you, a member of the government, into my church.
I didn't come to talk.
Indeed not. You came to get the stamp of my approval upon the Nazi regime. Very well. Go back to Hitler and tell him that so long as I have a tongue in my head, I will damn him and all his works. Every cell in my body works day and night for his destruction.
You don't seem to understand, Herr Niemöller. This is your last chance to escape arrest in prison. and perhaps worse.
For what crime?
For treason. Recordings of your last 8 sermons are now being played back in Herr Hitler's office. There have been hidden microphones in your church
I know that. I knew it the first day they put them there. Give my sentiments to Hitler and tell him that if he has a Christian in his ranks, he may send him to join my church. But since he has none, I will admit no Nazis to membership. Good day, my Herr. I have a sermon to deliver.
Do not deliver it, Herr Pastor.
I beg your pardon.
It will be your last. 5 Gestapo men are seated in your church. They have orders to make the arrest if you criticize the state again.
Then it truly is the end, huh?
Not if you come to your senses.
Herr von Ribbentrop, I came to my senses too late. Stand aside.
Don't deliver that sermon, Herr Niemöller.
You did not really believe I would surrender my God without a fight, did you? You are preparing for a battle with me, are you not?
Yes.
Well, then let it begin. There is no battle I would rather fight than for the right to preach God's word as I see it. Mark me, Nazi. My soul breathes fire today. Before Adolf Hitler or Lucifer himself, I will not bend. Stand aside. Good people, there is only one question now. If you want to become a beast without a soul, without a mind, you will obey him. But if you obey him, you cannot be a Christian man.
They're coming up the aisles. 5 of them. Say no more, they will put you away.
Take your seat. Good people, I repeat my words. If you obey Adolf Hitler,
Come down off that platform, Niemöller.
if you obey him, you cannot be a Christian man.
Hans, take him.
Yeah, Herr Pastor.
Pastor, walk quickly out that door.
Yeah, komm.
You are listening to Paul Lucas as Pastor Martin Niemöller of Berlin on the Cavalcade of America, sponsored by DuPont. Ripped from his pulpit in the midst of his sermon, Niemöller is brought before Hitler. With the 2 men in the room is Rudloff, a special Gestapo agent. For almost 5 minutes, Hitler stands staring at a German man who will not bow to him. At last, he speaks.
Why? Money? You do not want money. Power? I offer you the position as bishop of the new German church. I will build you a new cathedral, the glory of the world. I will make you great with honors.
But Christ, Herr Hitler. Where is Christ in all this
In
glory?
Germany, there can only be one God.
There is one God in Germany, and I serve him now.
Why can't you understand this? You are a military man. Don't you see what we are trying to do? This time, Niemöller, we will conquer the world. We cannot do it with an army of Christians. A soldier cannot turn his other cheek. A soldier cannot feel that the meek will conquer, that he's a brother to his enemy. Germany must have her own religion.
And you are her God?
A man cannot serve 2 masters, Niemöller. It is myself or Jesus Christ. Come to me, Niemöller. Stand beside me. The world lies open like a treasure house before us. Shake my hand. Come, shake my hand.
The hand is the hand of the Antichrist.
I do not deny it. For Germany, Niemöller, for the mastery of the world. Take my hand.
Herr Hitler, if I did not believe that you will die soon, I would strangle you this very minute.
Niemöller!
A new cathedral, is it? Bishop of Germany, is it? You stinking whelp of Lucifer. You beetle of the underworld. You Antichrist. You will build me cathedrals? You will make me glorious?
You are hanging yourself, Niemöller.
1,000 priests lie dying in your jail. The blood of innocence is dripping from your teeth. But you will not hang me, and you know you will not. Or the sleeping wrath of the German Christians will wake and crush you like a bug. May I leave this building, or am I under arrest?
Go. You may go.
Let him go. The whole city knows he was arrested. They'll say he beat you down.
He was sure he would be arrested. Give him a moment to think he's free. Arrest him on the doorstep of his house, Rudloff. Take him yourself to Sachshausen and begin at once. You will draw out his spirit like a tooth. Remember, Rudloff, no physical violence. In 6 months, I want the living body of Martin Niemöller, and in such good condition that it will stand erect under the robes of the Bishop of Germany. In 6 months, Rudloff, or it is your life.
Fast asleep?
Yeah, he's sleeping all right. Had him carrying water all day.
Open the door. Quietly.
What have you got in that bag?
Here. Open it over his chest.
What's that moving in it?
A rat. Drop it on him.
Get off. Get off.
Would you sign this document, Herr Niemöller? Just sign your name.
No. I told you no.
But it only says that you agree with the government.
No. No, he will not have me. He will never, never have me.
Good night.
Faster! Faster, you mongrels! Around in a circle! Around in a circle, march, march! Hey! Niemöller, come here. Here. Put on this cap.
Oh, it's a dunce cap. I can hardly...
Put it on! There. Now look at him, you swine! Niemöller, stand on one foot. Don't he look pretty? Now hop to me. Come on, hop. You dunce. 10. Hop to the wall. Lively now. Hey, stupid. Hop back to me. Now don't let the cap fall off. Now back to the wall. Come on, holy, back to me now. Faster, faster.
I can't. I haven't the strength. Let me go.
Oh, Herr Niemöller. I have here a paper for you to sign. Your name. Just your name, and you will be free, rich, and powerful. Here is my pen.
Go away.
Just your name. It will only take a moment. A few strokes of the pen, and this horror ends like a dream. Take the pen. Here.
Rudloff, please go and tell Hitler.
Yes, what?
If he has left in him one spark of humanity, he must stop this. These men are turning into idiots. Last night, they made a priest break his crucifix and spit on it. And then they shot him. And I had to watch. They make me watch all the executions.
Yes, I know. It is a horrible thing for you, Herr Pastor. It's ridiculous for you to stay here. Take my advice. I am with you. Just sign this agreement to support the government, and I will have you out in 10 minutes.
I cannot sign it. Once and for all, the German people must know that it is possible for a human being to have faith enough to stand against him. If I sign, they will know resistance is not possible. I cannot sign. Go away.
I will be back. Good day.
You see? He don't sleep anymore. Sits there all night talking to that rat.
Seems to have it trained.
Yeah. Just sits there at his feet. It's like a friend to him.
Quiet. Let me hear what he said.
We thought being Christian was building churches and throwing pennies to the poor when it was justice they cried to us for. We turned our backs on the pain of the people and they spat upon us. And they were right. Oh, rat. Oh, ugly animal, fitting congregation God has sent to hear my latter-day wisdom. What do you see in your glistening eyes? A madman? Oh, have I lost the hour? Is the thread broken? Judge me, brother of our new German king. Come, bite my finger if I have slipped the edge of sanity. Come. How far has it gone? God, give me a sign. Oh, Lord, my God, lift up my heart. I am not iron. End it. Deliver me. He must not have me. He must not have me. Oh! Oh.
So sorry. The gun went off. You're not hurt?
No. Huh? What do you want? Go away, please. Don't ask me again. Don't ask me.
Very well. I'll not ask you. Heinrich, bring in the box. And that man.
Hey, you. Come in here.
Coffin? He's carrying a coffin.
Set the coffin on end. Upright. That's it. Now you. Step inside.
Oh, I'm an old man. Shoot him. Don't wake me.
Get in there. That's it.
Let him out, for God's sake.
All right, Heinrich. Not tight enough. Turn it upside down now.
He strangled you. You're sending him on his head. Now stop it.
Don't touch that hair, Pastor. That's it. Sit down. The guard will watch you from the door. He has orders to shoot if you touch that coffin. Come, Heinrich.
Wait. You can't leave him in here with me.
I can't help it, Niemöller. You will sign this paper or it is my life. You're carrying this too far. You're acting like a fanatic. Come, sign. Take the pen.
No. No, no.
All right. I will wait outside. He will shoot if you touch that coffin.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth. Old man, can you hear me? I would break the box, but God help me, I cannot die now. They will say it was suicide. The people will lose all hope. They must have hope that a man can stand against him. Christ is stronger than it. Christ is stronger. Old man in the box, die quickly, please. My soul yearns for that, but I dare not die now. For you I live. To fight him I live. In name of Christ I live. I cannot break the box. For Christ's sake I cannot. Again his black bloods fly out to devour the world. Oh, Lord, call out to the nations. Raise them up against this Antichrist. Strike down his squadrons and shatter him crosswise into the sea.
Niemöller. Pastor.
Eh?
I am Kirsten in the next cell. Those planes, you hear them?
A curse on them.
No. They are from England and America. I just got the word. Listen. They're going toward Berlin.
Toward Berlin? Yes. They are. They are coming over.
Niemöller, sign it. I command you to sign this agreement. This very minute. I command you.
Listen, Nazi. They are bombing Berlin. Oh, Lord. How long have I waited, and how beautiful the sound of those angels.
Niemöller, you will sign. I order you. Sign.
Order? Come. Shout commands to the sky. Look through the bars, Nazi. They are coming. They are coming. Christ is not dead. The Boeings, the Stormoviks, the wild Spitfire. Come, you roaring eagles. Strike them from their cities. Look, you tremble, Nazi. You fear. Your skin grows cold. Don't turn away. Listen. Listen to the sound of those angels. Listen, Nazi. The world is born again.
Thank you, Paul Lucas. Ladies and gentlemen, in a few moments, Mr. Lucas will return to our microphone. Before we hear from him, we have a story of chemistry in today's world. In 1917, soldiers called their emergency rations, usually hardtack and bacon, iron rations. Maybe they weren't as hard on the teeth as iron, but it took real iron men to carry them because they were packed in an iron box, a big tin can about a foot long, and one can held one meal. It took a husky soldier to carry meals for a full day. In this war, a soldier can easily carry a full day's rations in his pocket. And thanks to general advances in food technology and to development work by technicians of the United States Army Quartermaster Corps, there has been a tremendous improvement in the quality and nutrition value of his emergency field rations. Emergency rations must be light. They can't be bulky, yet they must guarantee a man his daily quota of calories and vitamins. So packaging is important. Packaging that is light, strong, and protective. Packaging that can be counted on to safeguard emergency foods under the most trying conditions. The steamy jungle of Guadalcanal, the insects and torrential rains of New Guinea, the dry, quivering heat of the African desert.
The United States Army Quartermaster Corps, working with the DuPont Company and other manufacturers, has developed improved packages for these emergency rations. Sometimes cellophane is used in the transparent sheet you're accustomed to seeing on many of the products you buy. Sometimes, for even greater strength and moisture protection, cellophane is combined with other products like craft paper, glassine, and foil. Most of these laminations, that is, cellophane combined with these other materials, were virtually unknown before the war, although you will see plenty of them when the war is won because they're doing such a good job. It's easy to understand why strength and resistance to all kinds of weather conditions are so important in packaging materials used on rations. Sometimes the rations must be thrown overboard from supply ships and floated to the troops on shore.
And let me tell you about our Patreon page, World War II on the Air and in Print. In a nutshell, it is like this channel, but on steroids. There is so much on there as we recreate the World War II experience day by day on the United States home front as much as possible. There are daily newspapers, many more old-time radio programs than what we share here, classic movies that, if possible, we recreate an entire movie bill double feature, documentaries, and veterans interviews. Everything is archived into different playlists for easy searching. You can take out a free 1-week trial by subscribing, then scrolling down to pick a tier that suits you. You can cancel anytime before the week is over for no charge, or stay on and enjoy some great entertainment and news from the war years. Check us out. The link is in the comments. World War II on the Air and in Print.
In a few seconds, faces and places in the news. But first, a reminder that the second war loan drive is now underway. This is a concern of all the people. $13 billion is a lot of money. It must be raised, and soon. Some of that money has to be yours. Buy an extra war bond every payday.
6:15 for News of the World Today and a column about faces and places in the news, brought to you Monday through Friday. This is the birthday of a man who will probably receive few messages of congratulation. Adolf Hitler is 54 years old today. Later, there'll be a story about the life and times of Adolf Hitler. But first, here is tonight's front page in the news.
In North Africa, the crack British Eighth Army launching an offensive by moonlight last night has penetrated the Anfidaville position on the strong southern Axis line of defense in its narrowing corner of Tunisia. The assault was largely a smash by infantry troops against the hills and machine-gun-studded defenses of the Anfidaville line. Meanwhile, the Allied air arm, littering the Tunisian beaches and the Sicilian straits with the wreckage of Axis air power, has destroyed 24 more enemy planes to bring the two-day score to a total of 112, of which 70 were German troop transports. In the Pacific, United States Army warplanes rained 17 tons of bombs in a series of 9 attacks Sunday on the Japanese outpost at Kiska in the Aleutians. In the Southwest Pacific, General Douglas MacArthur's bombers hit 5 enemy bases in single-plane forays, and the Japanese raided Guadalcanal. Other United States heavy bombers attacked the enemy aerodrome at Munda in the Solomon Islands, plastering the runway with high explosives. In Europe, swift Ventura bombers struck at Nazi transport and industrial targets late today, and German planes in retaliatory raids gave London a brief air raid alert tonight that passed without incident. In China, Major General Claire L. Chennault today declared it was highly important for the United Nations to keep up the pressure in the Southwest Pacific. He believes that the Japanese are concentrating troops in French Indochina, Malaya, and Thailand in preparation for renewed offensives either in the Southwest Pacific or in Burma. Monterrey, Mexico. President Roosevelt shook hands with President Manuel Avila Camacho of Mexico today, while guns boomed the salute to this first meeting of United States and Mexican chief executives deep inside Mexico. Tonight, the leaders of these two neighboring allied nations speak to the world by radio about the future of the two countries. The broadcast will be heard over the Mutual Network at 8 o'clock Pacific Wartime. In just a moment, our feature column, Faces and Places in the News. But first, here is an important message.
One way you and I can and must keep faith with our armed forces is to invest to the very limit in the war bonds and other securities of the Second War Loan Drive. A drive to raise $13 billion now to provide needed weapons to our men in the front lines. Remember, the most you can lend is the least you can do during the Second War Loan Drive. Take every penny that isn't needed for bare necessities and invest it in extra war bonds and other second war loan securities. There are 7 different kinds of securities to fit your needs and your pocketbooks. The success of the drive is up to you and me. Let us, you and I, send every possible dollar to the support of our fighting men by putting these dollars into second war loan securities now. They give their lives. You lend your money.
Our feature column this evening is devoted to a story about a man who can put 54 candles on his birthday cake today if he has a birthday cake. Our columnist tells you more about Adolf Hitler, an important face in the news.
April 20th, 1889, and a slender young woman lay wearily on her bed, listening to the wails of her firstborn. A great moment in the life of any woman, a moment for dreaming of future greatness for the tiny, helpless miracle, for thinking of all the pitfalls that must be avoided, for contemplating the careful nurturing of the small spark of life into a flame of maturity that will shed light wherever its influence is felt. The face on the pillow was sensitive, deep-eyed, thin, framed by a tousled yellow hair. The face of a mother who would wish great good for her child. 16 years later, the tired, deep eyes of Clara Hitler closed in death. Merciful death, for she knew that her child Adolf was a queer, twisted youth. But she was spared the knowledge that she had given birth to a monster. She was never to know that the sweet cry of her firstborn was to be echoed back in the cries of 1,000,000 women for their children. That the wail of her son would one day come thundering back, amplified into a wail of doom, first to be heard throughout Germany, then throughout the world. The curse of Adolf Hitler was inferiority that gave rise to strange passions which defied even his mother's understanding while she lived. She could understand his hatred of a sodden father. She could respond with pity and great love to the boy's fanatical devotion to her. She hoped that from his tortured soul something great and good would grow, and she encouraged him to follow the instincts that seemed to direct him toward things beautiful. She never knew that he was devoid of true artistic feeling, that even this would become a curse to a nation whose whole concept of beauty would someday be scaled down to the limitations of the warped soul that was her son. In every human, there is a deep sense of individual inadequacy. Inferiority complex, it has been called. In great men, it is often strong. It is the conquest of self that makes them great. The desire to overcome weakness, stupidity, spiritual sloth has produced the leaders of civilization. In Adolf Hitler, it took another turn. He burned with a passion to scale everything down to his own inferiority rather than rise above it. A man with an idea, a single idea, that of crushing all that was outside his limited ken. Because he had not in him a spark of honor, he trusted no man. Those who at some time have been counted friends of Hitler may be remembered today by markers on their graves. Because he had not the intelligence and drive to learn from books, he burned them, lest they stand as mockers of his inferior mind. Because he loved no woman, he made motherhood a mockery of mass production for the purpose of providing cannon fodder. Because he had within him no love for humanity, he sought to destroy it, using a cowed nation as the instrument of destruction. Lust, insatiable, burned within him to destroy every truth that defied his purpose, to murder and maim those who would not bend to his will. First it was Germany, but having conquered his own people, his sense of insecurity still remained. Therefore, the nation with which he identified his success must conquer all. There could be no security in the world for the mission of Adolf Hitler until all that he could not rule was crushed under heel. Higher and higher he rose, climbing to the pinnacles of fame upon a great heap of human corpses, human hopes, human decencies. Still, he found no peace, no respite from the aching vacuum within him that defied satisfaction. There were some who saw whence his madness would lead him and his nation. Many of them are dead. Some remain only because they seemed indispensable to his purpose. After he had declared the unworthiness of certain peoples to live, he set about to destroy them. But the urge to live is strong in the human animal, and once apprised of the nature of the enemy, they fought back. The early weakness of the people he conquered fed Hitler's sense of historic mission, caused him to rely more and more on his intuition, defying military men, religious leaders, and cold statistics. Those who disagreed with him could always be liquidated or shelved in a concentration camp, but battles could not be won without military men. Only the impact of defeat could teach Hitler that, and reluctantly he conceded power to the generals, without whom his dreams of a world under heel could not come true. Defeats come to all men. The average human accepts them and goes on. They are not feasible, however, to men of Adolf Hitler's stripe. Who feeds on power starves without it, and the Nazi Fuhrer is starving today. The suspicion of defeat began to creep insidiously into his consciousness during the first winter in Russia. His mighty monster of destruction bogged down in the face of the first real opposition it encountered. The suspicion grew when his Africa Corps began its route across Egypt, across Libya, and deepened as it moved into a bottleneck in Tunisia. There was Stalingrad, too, to add weight to his anxieties. And the bombs from which Germans had been promised immunity that began to rain in torrents on cities of the Reich. Intuition, mad desire to crush all, to stand atop a heap of all humanity with none to challenge. These were not enough. Cold, hard steel in unending quantity, endless masses of men, great generalship and great cooperation. These alone could give Hitler the thing he desired. Intuition had to give way to generalship, and this alone was a defeat for Hitler, a defeat that burned deeply into his bottomless desire for supreme power. He had to admit to the greater experience and ability of others. Only time will tell what has happened to Hitler, whether he is ill, insane from frustration, a prisoner of Germany's military clique, or hiding away from his people as their suspicion of defeat grows. Hitler, if he is under the polite protective custody of his generals, may be undergoing a retreat into silence, fearful to face the nation he has brought to the border of doom. Today, he is 54 years old. There is no celebration in the Reich. The Fuhrer does not show his face, nor is there any reason to believe that he takes pleasure in this anniversary. He remembers birthdays when he was riding high, when the cries of the conquered and the shouts of German masses mingled in thunderous tribute. What did it matter that some of the roar was the anguish of the wounded, some of it the roar of tribute? It was all a composite ovation to his power, to his success in scaling the world down to his own puny horizons. The first wails of the child Adolf 54 years ago have been echoed back a millionfold, sometimes in hysterical cheering, sometimes in the cries of suffering humanity. But this year in shattering new noises, screeching wails that end in thunder, rising ever louder over the Reich of Adolf Hitler. The fury sown across the world by a power-mad man and a nation caught in his toils is being reaped in a harvest of horror. The wail that began the life of Adolf Hitler echoes back on the Reich today in the terrible wail of bombs. Wails ending in the thunder of doom, impending to human oppression, mass murder, and to the mad monster that was born in Austria 54 years ago today. We will have more news for you in just a moment.
Yes, we built 8 million tons of shipping last year. It was a good start in our hardest war, but grim-faced Navy men will tell you that the 18 million tons being built this year aren't enough. The United States must raise $13 billion more this month to keep our war machine going. In ever-expanding numbers, sons, husbands, and brothers are going into actual battle. Do your share by purchasing United States war bonds. Remember, they're the best investment in the world today. Don't wait for a volunteer worker to call at your home. Plan now to do your duty and do yourself a lifetime favor in making this one gilt-edged purchase. They give their lives. You lend your money. Buy a bond tomorrow.
Now, here is more news.
In Germany, Vidkun Quisling, puppet premier of Norway, was received by Adolf Hitler at his headquarters for a lengthy conversation on Monday, the Berlin radio said tonight. This is the fifth such conference in recent days between Germany and her satellites. Stockholm. Unless Germany makes a satisfactory reply to a request for an explanation of the reported attack by a German merchantman on the Swedish submarine Draken, the Swedish government may act to halt the use of the nation's territorial waters by Nazi ships. London. A Reuters report from Zurich tonight said that German Field Marshal Erwin Rommel is in Rome and is preparing to make an inspection of French Mediterranean coastal defenses. The dispatch said that Colonel General Jürgen von Arnim, formerly the commander of Axis forces in northern Tunisia, now is in charge of all the Tunisian operations. London. General Charles de Gaulle called tonight for a new structure of government under which he said old Republican France would give way to a truer democracy.
Now we'll say good evening for your reporter Jack Dash and your columnist Howard Culver. We'll return tomorrow and every evening, Monday through Friday at 6:15, with news and the column about faces and places in the news.
And remember, your government asks you to support the second war loan drive. Your own conscience, based on the stern facts of war, must tell you how important it is for you to comply with this request by purchasing an extra war bond every payday. This is Don Lee Mutual.
Because of the special broadcast that follows, the program originally scheduled for this time will not be heard.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is John Whitmore of the W, bringing to your loudspeaker this evening a special rally meeting of the Treasury Department in Times Square, New York, where thousands of people have gathered to hear this special aggregating of stage, screen, and other famous personalities. Mr. Walter O'Keefe, our master of ceremonies this evening, is right about to get the rally underway, and I'm going to turn it right over to him. All right, Walter O'Keefe, come in, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Walter O'Keefe speaking to you from Times Square, New York City, where we are having a monster celebration of Adolf Hitler's birthday. Adolf, of course, as you know, is Benito Mussolini's chum. And incidentally, I wonder what became of Mussolini. I heard he was offered to the St. Louis Browns in a trade, but they refused him. And to show you the way things are going on over there in Italy, Mussolini at this point hasn't even got a pot to cook spaghetti in. Now, we have an elaborate parade of stars to entertain you people tonight. First of all, we're fortunate in having, from directly across the street at the Strand Theater, Dick Stabile and his orchestra, who are going to play for you. Hit it, Dick. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dick Stabile and his orchestra, and it's a shame you people listening in can't see the huge crowd here tonight. Celebrities from every walk of life. We did expect to have Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia here, but he's busy helping Eleanor Roosevelt hang curtains in her new apartment. Oh, that's a honey of an apartment. It's absolutely streamlined. When you get out of the elevator and step into the foyer, there's a revolving door so she won't have to waste time pulling out a key. Now, we're fortunate in having here tonight Mrs. Stabile, known by her maiden name to you as Gracie Barry, and she's going to sing the song that Mussolini is singing to Hitler at Berchtesgaden tonight, I Don't Want to Walk Without You, baby.
Oh, baby, please come back, or you'll break my heart for me. 'Cause all our friends are knocking at the door. They've asked me out 100, but all I say is leave me in the gloom, and here I stay within my lonely room, 'cause I don't wanna walk without you, baby. Walk without your arms about me, or you'll break my heart for me. 'Cause I don't want to walk without you, no, sorry. Don't want to walk without you.
Now I want to present to you a young lad that typifies young America. He went from the New York stage out to Hollywood, where he has been received with great éclat and acclaim. He's a fellow who wears his honors modestly. I want to bring out John Garfield.
No words of mine can express more thrilling than this editorial by Ralph Ingersoll from PM. Quote, "This is the year. I do not know any more than you about whether the Japanese were playing a joke on themselves when they announced that American bombs were falling on our seacoast cities. But the weekend's best reading to me was of Chung King's reaction when the news came over the radio from Tokyo. The news may be true or false, but there was nothing phony about the great cheer that rose from one end of China to the other. It is Hitler's birthday, and I'm sorry he has to live to be a year older. Our own consolation is the thought of how many millions of good and brave people were made happy by the news that Tokyo was having some of its own medicine poured down its throat. Before Hitler has another birthday, other millions will have that grim relief. The good news is that the enemy is beginning to have to take it. We didn't start it. The Chinese and the Russians and the British and the Americans. Each of us in his own way was trying to work out his own destiny in peace. But this is the year in which we begin to finish it. The 54th year of Hitler's infamous life. My Hitler's birthday celebration is to sit and think how good it is to feel to hand it back to the boys who thought they had such a soft thing. It was soft when I was in Chongqing. The fascists just sat up there in the blue and dumped it down. This year, it's our side's turn. And now a word of my own. You keep buying war bonds and stamps, and our boys will keep them flying.
Now, those of you, and I'm sure most of you are listeners of the Bing Crosby program, for many, many months followed the career of a young comedian on there who is now, I might add, at the Strand Theater across the street. And I want to have you meet Jerry Lester. Okay.
Oh, thanks. This is an audience. This is what you call knocking them in the street. No talking while I'm on, Harvey. Unless you're a union man, you'll have to get off the stage. Sorry. They could have done one thing for me, switched the microphone around so I could have looked at my billing at the same time. It's really a pleasure to be here. We're on the air? Oh, then I won't tell that. Wait a minute. Don't take those pictures. My wife thinks I'm in Philadelphia. I would like to do one imitation of a henpecked husband talking back to his wife. That's all. Gee, they laugh louder at the Strand, kids. You're not mad. Look, you'll get nowhere if you challenge me. I even do good with the morning audiences, you know? The kind that just missed getting a job at 9 o'clock. They come in to hate you. Their main object in life is to put a coat on a seat to see that nobody gets there. No, you can't do it. And the minute you tell a joke, the kids run up and down the aisle. Hey, Slammy, look at me. Hey, come on down here. One by Margie. Oh, is that all? And so saying, I bid you a fond farewell. But before I leave you with this message. If you're ever in the dumps, pick up a tire for me, will you?
Thank you very much, Jerry. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going into a long introduction on this gentleman. I'm going to bring you a war correspondent author for the Chicago Tribune in Spain during the Spanish Civil War. And last summer he was arrested and spent 5 months as a Nazi prisoner in occupied France. J. Allen.
Let's get this straight. I wasn't a Nazi prisoner. I was a prisoner of the Nazis, and that's something else, you see. I want to explain how, though I was in one of Hitler's jails for 5 months, that I don't bear him any grudge. There's nothing personal in what I'm going to say. I don't bear him any grudge because it was my own fault, getting in jail. I should have been brighter. But the point is, I didn't like him before. I never liked him from the very beginning. I hated him before, so if I'm here tonight asking that you send him a birthday present, I'll explain why. I think it's going to be his last birthday in power in Germany, or his last birthday anywhere. I'd like to see him get a present. I'm told that we're short of paper and short of string. Therefore, I think we ought to send him a present in a metal wrapping. In a metal wrapping, a metal container, something that he won't have to bother to open, but that will drop and open all by itself. Buy a share of that, buy war bonds. That's the way to do it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Allen, and I want to have you guys look carefully at Martha O'Driscoll on her first trip to New York. Get the lights here, please.
Thank you very much.
What do you want to say about Hitler's birthday, dear?
Well, as they know, it's all Hitler's birthday, and what I'd like to say about Hitler, I can't say over the air.
Thank you very much.
The only thing to do for you to give Hitler a birthday present is buy lots of war bonds so we can bomb Berlin.
Okay. All right, Dick Stabile will play you a number as we sign off, ladies and gentlemen.
And there you have it, friends. A 15-minute visit to Times Square via the WOR Special Features Division. This is John Whitmore speaking. We have here thousands and thousands of people gathered together to celebrate Hitler's birthday. Yes, it's Hitler's mock birthday, and these thousands of people here have a grim and determined look as they listen to the entertainment provided for them by all of the artists up and down Broadway, in the motion picture, and on the radio. These people are actually going out and buying defense bonds and stamps. And now this is John Whitmore for WOR Special Features Department saying this is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Author's Playhouse. Presenting Wilbur Schramm's hilarious story of a mislaid train. Dan Peters and Casey Jones. This story, common knowledge among railroad men, no matter what run they're on. But if you go into a library and start looking for contemporary accounts of the famous lost train by the name of Casey Jones, why, you will have to leaf all through the papers of that year until July the 29th before you'll even run onto the name of Dan Peters, the engineer who teamed up with Casey Jones. Tonight, Author's Playhouse brings you the whole story, the real facts of what happened, as it presents Dan Peters and Casey Jones.
Casey, old friend, how do you feel this morning, huh? Oh, now, Mr. Jones, don't let him get you down. We aren't very big, but we're good. Good old Casey. Yes, sir. When them slick new streamliners is lying along the tracks in a heap of rust and axle grease, we'll still be working the milk run from Prudentia up to Maysville and back again. Now, isn't that so, huh? Yes, sir. Casey, you tell him. Yeah. Go ahead. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Dan. Got enough steam up?
Oh, I got a good head of steam. We're raring to go. Eh, Casey?
Let's go.
All aboard. Now, why do you suppose that old goat keeps a-hollering that every morning? He knows we ain't carried a passenger in 6 months.
Reckon he wants to be sure all them empty milk cans get aboard.
Rats. Well, Casey, let's go. Bill?
Yes?
Would you rather own a zebra or a giraffe?
I'd rather own a mule and a few acres of ground.
Hey, you know, I was looking at a map last night, and I found a town named What Cheer, Iowa. Now, what do you suppose What Cheer, Iowa is like?
I wouldn't rightly know, Dan.
Say, Bill, do you suppose locomotive ever gets jealous of automobiles? As far as Casey and me knows, there ain't a hill in the valley with more than one side.
Want to bet on it?
And no offense to your hometown, but sometimes I get so darn tired of riding into Maysville, Ohio.
Maysville, Ohio is one of the most interesting small towns in the United States of America. It has the biggest elm tree in the country.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Now, if Maysville only had the smallest elm tree once.
You can't have everything, Dan.
Yeah, I know. But every day for 20 years, I've picked up 3 cans of milk at Ben Epples Farm. Never 2 or 4. For 20 years.
How much time we got?
Say, wouldn't it be fun to pull a string of sleepers over the painted desert, huh? Or listen to station names like Lackawanna and Tonawanda instead of Maysville, Ohio, some morning.
Dan, for a solid man, you've got the unsolidest ideas. I don't believe you'd drive the train off the tracks like an automobile if you could. If you could steer it, now wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know. Casey and me have a sort of understanding. Hey, Bill.
Yeah?
Can you keep a secret?
What kind of a secret?
Come here. You ever notice this here lever before?
Why, no, Dan, never did.
Won't see anything like it on any other locomotive in the world. Rigged her up myself in my spare time. With this little lever, me and Casey can go places.
Is that a fact?
Yes, sirree, Bill. And don't you worry about if I could steer it.
What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for?
Dan, we're coming to the crossing.
Van Epple got his milk out yet?
Yeah, he's a-waiting.
How many cans?
3.
There. See what I mean?
Milk train coming. Milk train coming.
Your move, conductor.
Uh-huh. Right into your king roll.
Hey, Dan's pulling that curve a little fast, ain't he?
What was that?
I don't know. More than a loose rail, less than a cow. Say, don't them wheels sound funny?
They sure do.
Hey, wait a minute. Ain't them hills on the wrong side of the train?
Hey, Joe, was that an automobile we just went around?
It was.
I have a sensation we're running on a concrete road.
Maybe we're chasing a rabbit.
In 25 years on the railroad, I've never seen anything like it.
That ain't a dream.
Now listen, Joe. It simply isn't possible for a train to run on a concrete road.
You tell that to Dan Peters. We're stopping. Hello, boys.
Hello, Dan. Well, when do we get into Maysville?
We don't. Well, where you headed for, Dan?
I don't rightly know, except it's nowhere that we've ever been before. We didn't go to run at night because we've always had to run in the daytime. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but you fellas get off here.
What?
All set, Bill?
Yes, sir, Dan. I'll sober up with the go.
Well, so long, boys. All right, Casey, let's roll.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. So long, so long, so long, so long.
Pinch me.
Pinch me?
Gentlemen, I ask you to step in here because a rather odd circumstances come to my attention of which I thought you would wish to be informed. As traffic manager of the TV&U Railroad, I greatly prefer to settle such small details as may come up from day to day in my own...
As president of this line, I greatly dislike to have my time wasted. Now, what is this small detail?
Well, Mr. Cornell, gentlemen, it seems that one of our locomotives and its train of cars, consisting of one small coal car and one combination coach and baggage car, has been misplaced.
Misplaced?
That is to say, lost on its run between Maysville and Prudentia, Ohio.
Lost?
Yes, sir. Such appears to be the case. It went out on its regular run yesterday morning, made one stop to pick up, 3 cans of milk, and has not been seen since.
Well, that's just dandy.
The train isn't on the tracks or beside the tracks. They rode the whole line.
I read a book once about a town that waited all day for a milk train. Then they found that the tracks ended at the edge of town. All other civilization had disappeared. The train never did come in.
What happened, Mr. Forbes?
The milk spoiled. There was a beautiful red-haired widow in the story.
Now, that's a big help. Please, Mr. Forbes, let's get down to cases.
My own personal conclusion is that the train must have been filched, or, that is to say, stolen by its crew.
But who in Tophet? What engineer has managed to do that? Get me a complete report from the personnel department.
Pardon me, Mr. Cornell, but I already have a complete report from our file.
Let's have it. What are you waiting for?
The engineer is one Dan Peters. His record is neat and favorable. He has been engineer on the Boone Valley Spur Line for 20 years. For 20 years, he has had a well-kept timetable. He was believed by the personnel department to be meek and gentle, completely dependable, but with no imagination. In short, if you saw a room full of quiet little men, Dan Peters would be the quietest and the littlest.
Doesn't seem like the type to run off with a locomotive. I think the train is just plain lost.
Mr. Vice President, you can lose a crowbar. You can lose a brakeman. You can even lose an elephant. But you can't lose a train. Hello.
Long distance from Ohio. Someone who insists on talking to you, Mr. Cornell.
From Ohio? Put him on.
Hello. Is this President Cornell?
Yes?
I've been trying to get you all day, Mr. Cornell. I'm calling from the jail down in...
Now, just a minute. Who in Tophet are you, anyway?
I'm Will Hanley, conductor on the Boone Valley Spur line.
Well, where's my train?
That's just what I was going to tell you, Mr. Cornell. Dan Peters put me and the brakeman off about 12 miles out of Maysville on number 20.
Highway number 20?
Yes, sir. Last I seen of the train, Dan and Black Bill, the fireman, was highballing it down number 20 to the west. Why, did you miss it?
Did I? Why,
Mr. Cornell, sir, what I called about is, when we told the folks in town what happened, the constable run us in for being drunk and disorderly, me and the brakeman. Then they went and fined us $1 apiece in costs, which comes to $39.20, and we only got $3 between us. So, won't you please do something, Mr. Cornell?
I'm sorry, my good man, but you'd better sober up before you go calling people long distance. And don't go around talking about this train business either, or people will think you're crazy. Goodbye.
But, Mr. Cornell, what'll my wife say?
Goodbye. Well, gentlemen, it's true. That darn train is loose somewhere roaming the highways. I'd never have believed it possible.
I read a book once.
You, Mr. Forbes, Mr. Executive Vice President, you seem to have some ideas about this matter. Suppose you go out and find that train.
Me?
You. After as many years as you've worked with trains that knew where they were going, you ought to find it refreshing to deal with one that doesn't know where it's going. The worst of it is we don't dare go out and get the police and really look for that train, because if we ever admit we've lost a train, they'll never quit laughing at us. Well, what are you waiting for? Get out of here and find it. Find that train.
Gray-haired man with red cheeks, doctor. He come to the door and asked if he could park in the barnyard that day since he traveled only at night. I charged him $2 bit. A minute later, I looked out, and this little old train pulled up next to the barn. Two of them men was in overalls, one in a business suit, and they sat there cooking their breakfast on the engine's boiler. I even give them some cream for their coffee. I tell you, I'm not crazy. When they pulled out, it talked to me. It said, "Thank you, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, thank you, ma'am."
Maybe I was taking a little more than my share of the road. These big semi-jobs is hard to handle. Anyways, I hears a whistle, see? And this train comes over the hill. I pulls over to my side quick, but he swipes off my fender and runs me right off the road. I can see the engineer laughing at me as he goes by. I tell you, I was not drunk.
Irish eyes are smiling, sure the world seems bright and gay. In the... now look at that. And they can't do that on this highway. One headlight and he'll be my first victim of the night. Glory Pete is a bright one, too. Bright enough to blind a man. And he ought to see me signal well enough. Hey, you pull over there. What do you think you are? The 25th Evening? By the ghost of St. Patrick, is a locomotive.
Good evening, officer. What's on your mind?
Good evening to you, sir. Would that be a locomotive you're driving?
It is, sure enough.
That's what I thought. Now, see here, you, what's the meaning of this?
Meaning of what, officer? We aren't breaking any laws that I know of.
Oh, no. Did you ever hear of the law requiring a motor vehicle to use two headlights?
Oh, so that's what's bothering you. Mr. Forbes! Mr. Forbes is the executive vice president of the TV&U. He knows all about such things.
Yes? What is it, Dan?
Mr. Forbes, the officer here, seems to think that we ought to be carrying 2 headlights.
It's the law covering all motor vehicles. And if you were the devil himself driving a fiery chariot and I caught you in me zone with 1 headlight, I'd give you a ticket. Now, here.
Ah, but my good man, we are not a motor vehicle. As a locomotive, we fit properly under the category of steam engines.
There, you see?
Yes, sir, I see, although it's very irregular.
If you'd care to take the time, I can demonstrate, taking into account the law of optics and several other factors, that we are better lighted than a fleet of 36.5 automobiles.
Is that?
And 4,073 and 8/11% better lighted than your motorcycle.
Which is a motor vehicle.
Is that the truth?
If you'd care to step into the cab for a moment, I'll get a pencil and paper and demonstrate how the...
No, never mind. I'll take your word for it, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, don't mention it, sir. By the way, I suppose you've got your driver's license.
Oh, yes, locomotive engineer licensed to operate under the laws of all states of the USA. See?
Yes, sir. Well, thanks. It's just a formality, you know.
Oh, sure, I understand. Well, I guess we'll be rolling. It's been nice seeing you, officer. Oh, and here's that ticket you gave me. Don't look like we'll be needing it.
Oh, sure.
Well, goodbye. All right. Now, Mr. Forbes.
Board! How was that, Dan?
Well, you're doing fine, Mr. Forbes. Only lean a little more on the oard. Like this. Board!
Redfoot, so long. Redfoot, wah, 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 wah.
Glory be, it was laughing at me. Maybe it's the drug. From now on, I'm a changed man.
Mr. Cornell, here's a postcard the girl asked me to give you when you came in.
Postcard? Mammoth Cave, Kentucky. Have found you know what. Dan and I and Bill having fine time. Wish you were here. Signed, Forbes. Why, that... where's my hat? Listen, if I'm not back in 10 days, send the police after the confounded train.
So that's Niagara Falls. Well, I've always had a hankering to see this place. My, but it's a big splash of water.
Sure beats anything we got in Ohio.
Well, I should think so. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go.
Where?
Over into Canada, of course. In case he can make the grade. I always did want to see a foreign country. Feed him some coal, Bill.
Sure, Dan.
Well, there's the bridge. You think Casey can make it?
We'll make it, don't you worry. Come on, Casey, old friend.
We can make it. We can make it. We can make it.
Good boy.
Hey, look. Red, white, and blue ribbons all over the bridge.
Well, glory be. And look at that fellow waving to us.
Very likely he wishes to collect the toll. Better hold it up, Dan.
Made it.
Good boy, Casey.
Now, this is my treat. I want to pay the toll.
Hey, where do you think you're going with that thing?
Well, we just want to cross a bridge like anyone else. My, that's a pretty new bridge, ain't it?
Now, let me see now. Well, what does that sign say? 25 cents for a motor vehicle and driver, 5 cents apiece for each additional passenger. That makes a total of 35 cents, right? Here you are, sir, 35 cents even.
Say, look here now, that ain't right. The rules say 25 cents for a motor vehicle. What you've got there looks more like a train.
Did you say looks like a train? Never mind, Casey. Don't let 'em hurt your feelings. We aren't very big, but we're good. Aren't we, Casey?
Thank you, Dan.
Say, you must be Dan Peters himself. And this is Casey. Jumpin' Jehoshaphat. Why, you're famous all over the United States, Mr. Peters.
Huh?
Say, people have been looking for you all over the country ever since the story came out in the papers. And Casey. Gosh, but I expected something bigger.
Me and Casey in the papers?
People have been saying you were seen last night down in Alabama.
Hey, look here, let's settle this little financial transaction. Is 35 cents all right?
Gosh, I'd sure like to let Casey through, but
Until this bridge is dedicated, he can't cross or nobody else. This here is the brand new international bridge, and it ain't going to be dedicated till this afternoon.
What kind of a bridge you say this was?
It's called the International Bridge. It's a sort of memorial to international peace and friendship. So it's going to be dedicated this afternoon by a lot of big shots.
Oh, so that's why they got all them red, white, and blue ribbons, eh? Well, Forbes, look like we got here just in the nick of time. Yeah, this here is a big thing. A memorial to international peace and friendship. Hey, what do you say if we just pull up by these here ribbons and wait to see this here dedication?
Right-o, Dan.
Well, Casey would like to be in on a big affair like this.
Dan, I don't know much about dedications, but it sure is time for breakfast.
Well, coffee's already perking in the boiler. Mr. Guard, would you care to join us?
I'd sure be honored, Mr. Peters.
Mr. Forbes, will you pour? We'll drink a toast to this here pretty new bridge and to international peace. Right, Casey, old boy?
That's right, Dan!
And so, in the absence of the Secretary of War, I am happy to have the privilege of coming here today to participate in this momentous occasion, the dedication of the International Bridge. A momentous occasion, I say, for this is more than the dedication of a great bridge. It is a symbol, a memorial to international peace and friendship between the people of two great...
We want Dan Peters!
Where is this Dan Peters? Get him up here quickly.
I'm right here, Governor.
Well, Mr. Peters, you've got to speak to these people.
Me? Oh, I can't make a speech, Mr. Governor.
Oh, listen to that crowd. Mr. Peters, this way.
Well,
we are fortunate in having with us today Mr. Dan Peters of the TV and U Railroad and other points who will now speak to you. Mr. Peters.
Well, folks, I ain't any good at speeches. Only thing I can say is Casey and me have seen a lot of beautiful things since we've been on our own, but nothing that can hold a candle to this here wonderful new bridge. That's all, and I thank you.
Well, Mr. Peters, I guess you and Casey have seen and done about everything now, haven't you?
Well, we've been around. Just two things more we'd like to see. A zebra and President Frank Cornell of the TV and U.
Here I am, Dan Peters. Move aside, Dan. Move aside. Let him through.
I'm Frank Cornell.
It is Frank Cornell.
Mr. Peters, I wanted to meet you bad.
President Frank Cornell? Well, I'm sure pleased to make your acquaintance. My, but I thought you would be bigger.
I thought you'd be bigger, too. I thought you'd be 20 feet tall.
Mr. President, I want to tell you that I'm sorry I didn't keep the schedule.
Dan, I can't forgive you for not keeping the schedule. But what I can't forgive, I can sometimes forget. I'm going to forget what you didn't do and remember what you did do.
Mr. Peters, if you can move your train enough so we can get the official automobile past it, we want you to cut the ribbon and ride over the bridge with us in the first car.
Did you say automobile? We'll ride over in Casey. Plenty of room in the coach and baggage car for all of you.
Why, that sounds just fine, but there's one favor I'd like to ask.
What's that?
Could I ride up in the cab? I always wanted to do that ever since I was a boy.
Well, Casey would feel right proud to have a real governor right up there in the cab with him. And you too, President Cornell, if you'll do us the honor.
Why, Dan, the honor's all mine, and I really mean that.
Well, fine. What are we waiting for? Come on. Governor, you go round up the rest of the officials, herd them into the baggage car, and let's get a rolling.
Right, Mr. Peters. I'll hurry.
Mr. Cornell, this is Casey. Casey, I want you to meet our president, Frank Cornell.
Howdy, Mr. Cornell. Come aboard.
What? Thank you.
Step right up, Cornell. Look out. You don't all over grease there.
Thanks, Dan. And the blazes with the grease.
President Cornell, I reckon you know Mr. Ford.
Yes. Well, Forbes, I see you found the train.
Yes, I did, sir, but it seems as if Casey wasn't quite ready to go home.
They're all in, Mr. Peters. Ready to go now.
All right, all set, Governor. But wait a minute. That was a mighty poor kind of a speech I made. Could you reach out there and get that microphone over to me from the platform? I got something else I want to say. This here's more than just a bridge. It's a kind of stand for something. It seems like somebody ought at least to mention it.
Yes, here you are, Mr. Peters.
Oh, thank you kindly, sir. Folks, they tell me that this is a peace bridge. Peace is when you don't have to be afraid. When all the tough guys keep on their side of the road. That's what we call law and order, I reckon. And when you've got that, you've got freedom for the little guys who aren't going to hurt nobody. Freedom to look at Niagara Falls and get to know somebody in what highway. And when you get to know somebody, pretty soon you find somebody you can trust, like the U.S. and Canada. And because the U.S. trusts Canada, we got this here bridge. And a mighty purty one it is. And I thank you. All right, Mr. Governor, we're float.
May I say all aboard?
Why, yeah, go ahead. Now, all aboard! Well, Casey, old boy, here we go. Mr. Cornell, sir, there's the whistle cord. Will you do the honors, sir?
Canada! Here we go!
You've done a great thing for the railroad. You've been worth thousands of dollars in advertising. The question is, what do you want to do now? Would you like to be a vice president?
Oh, shucks, Mr. Cornell. I'm just an engineer.
We'll give you a new 16-coach diesel streamliner. You can get 20,000 applications for your first trip. We'll pass an act of Congress. You can go where you want to.
Well, no, Mr. President, no. You see, Casey has a soul. You can talk to him. You can't talk to these shiny new engines. All you can do is feed them oil and grease. I don't know whether souls grow or you build them in. Well, I suspect they grow.
But you can't drive Casey anymore. His boiler sags like an old horse's back, and every wheel is worn down below the flanges. He's just plain worn out.
Yeah. Casey's old and tired. So am I. Yep, I'm at pension age, and I expect we ought to retire. You know, it's a funny thing. As long as Casey and me was tied to the milk run, we always had a hankering to see the rest of the world. But now that we've seen it, I kind of feel there ain't no nicer place to be anywhere than in the shade of that big old elm that stands in the square at Maysville. What do you think, Casey?
Let's go home. Let's go home.
You have just heard Wilbur Schramm's story, Dan Peters and Casey Jones, adapted for Authors Playhouse by Carl and Marjorie Weber and directed by Frank Papp.
Cliff Subir was heard as Dan Peters. The musical score was composed and conducted by Dr. Roy Shield. The special sound effects on this program were heard through the cooperation of Wright Sonovox Incorporated. Next week, same time, same station, Authors Playhouse will be Louis Bromfield's story of Paris under the Nazi terror until the daybreak. Authors Playhouse came to you from Chicago. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Keep these shows coming. Become a subscriber to our Patreon page, World War II on the Air and in Print. A link is in the comments below. Also, subscribe to this channel and ring that bell. It gets us into that YouTube algorithm. Until next time, my name is Henry Chap. Good night. God bless.
This changing world, this changing scene, where is it taking us? What does it mean? As long as we're certain of each other, we know we don't have to be afraid. These changing times we rise above. We have no time for them. We have our love, and love is the only thing that still remains the same through all this changing world.
Determined by your Hit Parade survey, which checks the bestsellers in sheet music and phonograph records, the songs most heard on the air, and the songs most played on the automatic coin machines. An accurate, authentic tabulation of America's taste in popular music. Your Hit Parade.
I'm Henry Chap with a pocket full of nickels for the Hit Parade jukebox. Let's count them down. There are 2 records leaving the chart this week. Let's Get Lost by Vaughn Monroe, which was number 10 last week, and For Me and My Gal by Judy Garland and Gene Kelly, which was number 8. Let's give them a listen.
To steal away, wouldn't we? So let's not even ask, should we or shouldn't we?
Well, should we? Huh?
Let's get lost with you, lost in each other's arms.
Let's do, yeah, let's get lost.
Then we can let them send out alarm. And though they think us rather rude, let's tell the world we're in that crazy mood. Let's defrost to celebrate this night we found each other. Let's get lost.
Oh, let's get lost.
Let's celebrate this night we found each other. Let's get lost.
Let's get lost.
Oh, let's get lost.
Get lost.
Ding dong, ding dong. Do you hear the bells go ding dong? Do you know why they're ringing?
Why, no. I don't know why they're ringing.
Well, you're gonna get a big surprise, 'cause I'm gonna put you wise. The bells are ringing for me and my gal. The birds are singing for me and my gal. Everybody's been knowing to a wedding they're going, and for weeks they've been sewing. Every Susie and Sal, they're congregating for me and my gal. The parson's waiting for me and my gal. And sometime we're gonna build a little home for 2 or 3 or 4 or more in love land for me and my gal.
The bells are ringing for me and my gal. The birds are singing for me and my gal. Everybody's been knowing to a wedding they're going, and for weeks they've been sewing. They've been sewing something old and something new, so something that is blue, so they can make a trousseau for my gal. They're congregating for me and my gal. Look here, why, that's the parson waiting for me and my gal. And sometime we're gonna build a little home for 2
Or 3
or 4
or 5
or maybe more. Love land for me and my gal.
Benny Goodman drops from number 9 to number 10 with Helen Forrest singing it, Taking a Chance on Love. Our first of two debut records comes in at number 9 this week. Here is Erskine Hawkins with Jimmy Mitchell on the vocal with Don't Cry Baby.
Dry your eyes and let's be sweethearts again. You know I didn't mean to ever treat you so mean. Come on, sweetheart, let's try it over again.
Peter Piper and his orchestra with the vocal by Art Gentry is our second debut record, coming in at number 8. Here is What's the Good Word, Mr. Bluebird?
What's the good word, Mr. Bluebird? Did you bring a song to cheer me up today? Give me your word, Mr. Bluebird. Did you come to tell me everything's okay? I've been blue because there was no letter. Seeing you has made me feel much better. What's the good word, Mr. Bluebird, before you fly away? a song to cheer me up today. Give me your word, Mr. Bluebird. Did you come to tell me everything's okay? Now I've been blue because there was no letter, but seeing you has made me feel much better. So what's the good word, Mr. Bluebird, before you fly away?
Dropping from number 4 to number 7 is Xavier Cugat with Brazil.
Brasil, meu Brasil brasileiro, meu mulato insoneiro, vou cantar-te nos meus
Dick Haymes and the Song Spinners takes a 3-point drop with It Can't Be Wrong.
Wrong, would it be wrong to kiss? Seeing I feel like this, would it be wrong to try? Would it be wrong to stay here in your arms this way, under this starry sky? If it is wrong, then why were you sent to me? Why am I content to be with you forever? So when I need you so much, and I have waited so long. It must be right. It can't be wrong.
Would it be wrong to kiss, seeing I feel like this? Would it be wrong to try? Would it be wrong to stay here in your arms this way, under this starry sky?
If it is wrong, then why were you sent to me? Why am I content to be with you forever? So when I need you so much, and I have waited so long, it must be right. It can be wrong.
Tonight we are going back one full year to April 1942. The baseball season was starting up. Many of the big stars who are gone this spring, including Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams, were still in flannels. Bob Feller was already training in the Navy. Baton fell, as did much of the Pacific. Corregidor still held out. The biggest bright spot was Japan being bombed from a base named Shangri-La. It seems so long ago. On the radio, you couldn't get enough of this record by Harry James and the orchestra with Helen Forrest on the vocals, I Don't Want to Walk Without You.
Within my lonely room, 'cause I don't want to walk without you, baby. Walk without my arm about you, baby. I thought the day left me behind, I'd take a stroll and get you right off my mind, but now I find that I don't want to walk without the sunshine. You have to turn off all that sunshine. Oh, or you'll break my heart for me. 'Cause I don't wanna walk without you, no
Into the top 5 now. Holding steady at number 5 is Dinah Shore with You'd Be So Nice to Come Home To.
You'd be so nice to come home to. You'd be so nice by the fire, while the breeze on high sang a lullaby. You'd be all that I could desire, under stars chilled by the winter, under an August moon burning above. You'd be so nice, you'd be paradise to come home to and love. August moon burning above. You'd be so nice, you'd be paradise to come home to and love. La-da-dee.
Last week's number 1 record takes a 3-point drop to number 4. Yes, boys and girls, we have a brand new number 1 record this week. Here is Harry James and the orchestra with Helen Forrest on the vocals. I've heard that song before.
From an old familiar score. I know it well, that melody. It's funny how a scene recalls a favorite dream, a dream that brought you so close to me. I know each word because I've heard that song before. The lyrics said, forevermore, forevermore, the memory. Please have them play it again, and I'll remember just when I've heard that lovely song
The Ink Spots jump from number 6 to number 3 with Don't Get Around Much Anymore.
When I'm not playing solitaire, I take a book down from the shelf. And what with programs on the air, I keep pretty much to myself. Miss the Saturday dance. Heard they crowded the floor. Couldn't bear it without you. Don't get around much anymore. Thought I'd visit the club. Got as far as the door. They'd have asked me about you. Don't get around much anymore. Oh, darling, I guess my mind's more at ease. But nevertheless, why stir up memories? Been invited on days. Might have gone, but what for? Awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore. My mind's more at ease, but nevertheless, why stir up memories? Been invited on days. Might have gone, but what for? Awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore. Don't get around much anymore. Don't get around much anymore.
Jumping 5 places to number 2 from number 7 is Glenn Miller and the orchestra with Skip Nelson and the Modernaires on the vocals, That Old Black Magic.
magic has me in its spell. That old black magic that you weave so well. Those icy fingers up and down my spine. The same old witchcraft when your eyes meet mine. The same old tingle that I feel inside. And then that elevator starts its ride. And down I go, round and round I go, like a leaf that's caught in the tide. I should stay away, but what can I do? I hear your name, and I'm aflame with such a burning desire that only a kiss can put out the fire. For you're the lover I have waited for, the mate that fate had me created for. And every time your lips meet mine, darling, down and down I go, round and round I go, in a spin, loving the spin again, under that old black magic called love.
Taking the 1-point jump to make number one is Dooley Wilson and that song from Casablanca. Play it again, Dooley. Here is As Time Goes By.
You must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs are never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy, and hate. Woman needs man, and man must have his mate that no one can deny. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs are never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy, and hate. Woman needs man, and man must have its mate that no one can deny. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by.
That's the Your Hit Parade Jukebox for another week, the week ending April 24th, 1943. My name is Henry Chap. So long for a while.
So long for a while. That's all the song